Welcome back, welcome back. First start off with a little bit of all praise and love to the Most High. You know, usually don't do that, but I've had a very revealing revelation today in the shower. As I was taking a shower, I usually do a lot of thinking. Well, not a lot of thinking, but, something happens. And it came to me that, I don't know how to say it without not sounding bad, because it's not a bad thing. But I once heard, I think in either in the Bible, or maybe I heard it in, something else about faith. Not really sure. I'm not a fucking super scholar. I remember the lessons, not the words. This man said, I hate my flesh. I hate my flesh because it betrays the Lord. Automatically. And I didn't understand that. I said, I like the mortal world. This is the shit. And it is. Spirits can't do the things we do here, just like we can't do the things they do there. Sound horns. But being on a mission for the Most High, and actually really loving God, and knowing you can't be perfect, but you want to please Him, You understand why to do things. It's not even like you're trying to please Him anymore. You're like, no, this is just the way it goes. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it works. And been learning about spirit and, people talking of heaven and all their texts and getting into Egyptian shit where they're talking about the afterlife. Not you're dead, no, the afterlife. Some people never come back and then some people do. And I said, why wouldn't anybody want to come back? I used to always say that. Like, I love it here. It's been shit the whole time for me. Well, not really shit, but, I ain't had the greatest. But people had it worse. But still, you can't, this is not upstairs. They wish they could feel things. They wish they could fall in love. They wish they can reproduce themselves, see little versions of themselves, and pretend like they're God, And you get to watch over that thing, protect it, like the Lord would. Well, the best you could. You don't get those chances upstairs, because you're immortal. Get it? Your soul never dies. But then, I think about how hard it is to please the Father in this fucking meat sack. It's just a car. You people love your bodies. You love your flesh self. Because that's who you think you are. I've always known I wasn't just this sack of meat. Because I think so much. I've always wondered, where the fuck are those thoughts coming from? Where are my ideas coming from? Where are the answers coming from? Where, And then you look up science, because, people always run to that shit like they know everything. And then you see that they don't know. Which means they know. Because I'm just a fucking idiot. And since they said they didn't know, then I knew where it comes from. It comes from the Lord. The unknown place, the unseen realm. I think that's why my father chose me to write. Be a rapper. Play with words. Something special about that. I don't know what it is, but there's something special about it. All through history, there's never been people that always can write. There are people right now that can't write their own names. Can't spell it neither. There are people that have super deep thoughts and could say some of the, but they only think it. They never write it down. They're too afraid to just write it down. It's one thing to be afraid to say things in front of people, I could understand that. But not to be able to write your truth down. Write down what you think. It does something for you, Puts you on the inside of the outside of things, if that makes sense. Anyway, I love living, I really do. I'm always going to keep on enjoying the ride. I just hate my body, though. It's so susceptible to not listening to the law. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you ever just be like, damn, why can't I just get shit right? Nigga, stop doing this. And then you're like, but the body, it's hooked. You're addicted to these things. You have to break the chains. There's no other way. It's not a magical 1, 2, 3. Maybe for some people, but, like smoking. I want to stop smoking. I've been trying to quit smoking my whole life. I never even liked smoking. I hate cigarettes. But the stress. The people that always want to fucking test the wolf god. That's no excuse, really, I guess. People had to deal with more. They got through it. So, I know I could do it. Just gotta want it like you want your next breath. Everybody wants their next breath. Really, really bad. Put your hands over your mouth and nose and try to stop yourself from breathing. And then when you get to that point, you're going to see how much you want to breathe. Your body wants to breathe. It starts reacting. It'll force your fucking hands off of your mouth and nose. Anyway, I guess you can't have anything in this world without, a test. Such a great gift to have a body. People don't even realize that. We really don't. That's why the Lord said, I made you perfect. It's not always about what we believe is perfect. Just having the body is perfect. What do you think these fucking demons want? What did you think the fallen angels came down here for? You think they came down here just to fucking, No, they came down here to experience what they could never experience. That's why they threw their lives and very souls away. Because they knew. You can't go down there. You'll never be like Adam. With all your power and all your strength, you're never gonna get what that low-level mudman can have. And that made him very, very angry. Because, the angels don't get to play God. They don't get children like he has. But Adam does. And it's a very, very hard responsibility. All love, all praise to my daddy.